آریانا افغانستان یگانه شبکه تلویزیونی ملی افغانها در خارج از کشور.
توانا بود ارکی دانا بود، ز دانش دل پیر برنا بود.
دلای او بخونکی خدای پنامه گران و قدران و دوستانا سلام علیکم هیله ده چرا خوشحال هوارا مسایی او دنن و زیده پوهن رانا ده پخ پروانه دیر خیر اغلاست زی مریم اسماعیل ارسلایم او داخ پروانه تاسته ده آریانا افغانستان ده نریواله شبکه سخور ورانده کام خدای دوکری چه دنن رازی ده پوهن رانا ده معلومات تاسته استفاده ورد او مفید واقعی بینندگان عزیز و ارجمند برنامه دانش روشنایی است. با آرزوی صحت و سلامت شما برنامه امروز آغاز میکنیم. امیدوارم شاد و صحتمند باشین و هفته خوش و پرثمره را در هر گوشه و کنار جهان که باشین با عزیزانتان به خوشی و آرامش سپری کرده باشین و باز هم خوشحال هستم که در برابر شما عزیزان قرار دارم. امیدوارم که محتویات برنامه امروز براتان مورد استفاده خوب قرار بگیره و انشالله که میگیره و با وجود که موضوع برنامه امروز ما اختصاصی و شکل اختصاصی برای ارتباط میگیره با یک منطقه، ولی موضوع با ارتباط هموطنان تازه وارد ما افغانان عزیز ما که چند ماه آخر به ایالات متحده امریکا آمدن و برای در مورد کمک ها و مسکن گزین شدن آنها، جابجا شدنشان و چی و کمک ها برشان وجود داره به شکل اختصاصی در مورد یک منطقه است، اما همین معلومات میتونه که به شکل یک مدل در تمام ایالات و کانتی ها و در دیستریکت هایش میتونه که استفاده شود و میمان امروز ما انشاءالله که دیگه مورد بر ما معلومات میتن و بسیار ما خوشبخت هستیم که امروز آقای جول اندرسن که سوپروایزر دیستریکت دوی سن دیگو هستن با ما هستن از طریق زوم و معلوماتشان معلومات بسیار کارهایی که کردن، البته کارهای بسیار مثبت خوبی بوده برای بهبود زندگی برای افغانان تازه وارد ما. و از شخصی که باید ما اظهار سپاس کنم در این قسمت از محترم آقای عمر قدرت که مرا با اونا معرفی ساختن و این زمینه این مصاحبه را اونا برای من مساعد ساختن و حالا چون که آقای سوپروایزر جول اندرسن یک امریکایی هستن و است که تمام مصاحبه ما به زبان انگلیسی صورت میگیره و معرفیشان هم به زبان انگلیسی میکنم و عموما هموطنان عزیز ما که با افغانای ما با افغانای تازه وارد اونا همکاری میکنن، کارهای داوطلبانه والنتیر میکنن، همشون به زبان انگلیسی معرفت دارن و مخصوصا زیادتر خوشبختانه تعداد زیاد جواناست که بسیار زحمت میکشن و برای از اونا فکر میکنم که زبان انگلیسی برایشان آسان تر خواهد باشه. And before further ado, and before I start introducing my distinguished guest today, I just would like to thank Mr. Omar Qadrat one more time for making this interview possible. And now we'll start with a brief introduction. Supervisor Joel Anderson brings his more than 14 years experience representing East County, San Diego, in the state legislature to the County Board of Supervisors. During his time as an elected official, he has been named Legislator of the Year by 27 different organizations, including veterans and taxpayer advocate groups. Joel Anderson authored successful legislation to assist veterans in obtaining citizenship after their service and to protect veterans' education benefits. Supervisor Anderson currently represents more than 620,000 constituents in the 2,000 square miles of East County's District 2. Supervisor Anderson's priority is to make county government work for his constituents. And now we're going to welcome Supervisor Joel Anderson. Welcome, Supervisor. It's a distinguished honor to have you.
Oh, it's my pleasure to be here, and it's such an honor to be on your show.
Thank you very much. I appreciate your time, especially on a Sunday. Supervisor Anderson, at the beginning, if you don't mind telling us about what the County of San Diego does in the district you represent.
So most people know what cities do, right? Cities have mayor and city council members, and they run their cities, they build their roads, they do all that stuff.
Right.
But if you live in a city and you live in San Diego, you might be in a community like Lakeside or Ramona or Alpine. The county is your government. We provide the roads, we provide the health care, we provide all the government services to the unincorporated area. But we go further than that, and we provide health and human services for all of the county. So, for example, if you and your family don't have housing and you're living on the streets, we provide the services to help find housing. Also, if you don't have the money to provide food for your children, we assist you with food and nominal money in order for your family not to starve. So we are the health net for the county, and it's really important work.
Very good. Thank you very much. You wrote to the president after he pulled American troops from Afghanistan. Tell us about that letter. What was your message to the president about Afghanistan and Afghans?
So, we've worked with the Afghan people for a number of years. We have built and established wonderful relationships. Many of the people that live in my district have family there. Some of them had gone home to Afghanistan to visit their family, and they were being trapped in Afghanistan. And we had 23 students from an elementary school district that were caught there. So I wrote a letter on their behalf asking the president to ensure that they were not left behind and that no refugee in Afghanistan was left behind, and that we moved all of our friends and all the people that would be punished by the new regime, that we would open our doors and welcome them to our community.
That's awesome. Thank you for doing that. So you brought forward a vote on resettling Afghans in San Diego County. Why did you bring forward this vote, and what was the vote about exactly?
So when I served in the state Senate, we had a lot of refugees come to my district. In fact, we have more refugees in my district than anywhere else in the western United States. So they're our neighbors, they're our friends. And if their cousins and sisters and brothers or parents are in harm's way, we want to welcome them and bring them to our country and give them the safety that they deserve. So I had gone through having other refugees come into our community, and we weren't always prepared to welcome them and have housing for them. So I knew that we'd have at least 1,000, if not 1,500, come to my community. So I wanted to make sure the county had prepared and started doing the hard work of finding them housing, finding them jobs, helping assist them so that they could assimilate and be connected in the community. When refugees come to our country, it's easier to place them in communities where people speak and are related to, speak the same language and are related to them, or they have some sort of connection. You think about it, you go to a foreign country, you don't speak the language, you don't know the culture, you really need people to mentor you and welcome you. And so I wanted to make sure that we were prepared on the front end to make that transition as simple and as easy as possible and as welcoming as possible to the Afghans that are coming to my district.
Very good. So, what is the county government doing to help the incoming families from Afghanistan?
So we have all sorts of services. In fact, earlier this year, in anticipation of future refugees, we created an Office of Immigration and Refugee Affairs. And the idea was to make sure that we understood the cultures from where people are coming from, and that we assist them in getting acclimated in the community, and that we assist them in finding housing, finding jobs, getting their children to school. You know, for some of these countries, they may not have access because some of the rural communities may not have schools, or in some cultures, women are denied access to education. That's not who we are here in the United States. We want to make sure that every woman is treated with the same respect as every man, and that they have equal access to education and opportunity as they get older and move forward as adults. So we wanted to make sure that when they get here, that we've put all those things in place, and that we work with nonprofits to help assimilate and get people squared away. So you know, you can wait until they get here and lose time, or we can be prepared knowing that they're going to come. We were told that we may have as many as 2,500 move to my district, so I wanted to be prepared. That's a lot of people, and that's a lot of housing, and we needed to make sure that we were able to accommodate them all.
Very good. Will there be funding to help pay for the resettlement of Afghans in San Diego County?
Yes. The federal governments and the state government are offering money. We can assist people with that money. But I also put in my board letter that we confiscated $9.5 billion from the Taliban government. And I, in my letter, am asking President Biden to use that money to help settle the refugees. You know, that's a lot of money. And this is money that belonged to the Afghan people. And as these refugees come here, it should be used for them. It makes sense that it's used for them. So I asked President Biden in Congress to please do that, so that we have all the proper services to ensure that their transition to the United States is a comfortable one and makes sense.
Very good. How can you help support the many Afghan American volunteer groups that are helping them?
Well, we have that Office of Immigration and Refugee Affairs. Those organizations can call my office, or they can call the county office, and we can assist putting them to work and making sure that they're connected. We need all the help that we can get. You know, this is not an easy thing. It takes a lot of people to help all those families adjust and move here. So we would love to have their help. If they just call my office, I'm happy to do it. Or they, like I said, they can call the Office of Immigration and Refugee Affairs. But either way, we can help. And if they don't remember that, if they dial 211 on their phone,
211,
and ask to help, they will connect them with the proper organizations. But we'd love to have those groups. There's a lot of nonprofits in San Diego that are working hard right now to help, but more hands make the job easier. So having more nonprofits involved would be a good thing.
Currently, are you involved with any of them?
I'm sorry, say it again.
I said, currently, are you involved with any of them, these?
Well, I am indirectly. I wrote the board letter to put the framework together so that we could address the issue early and help as many people as possible. But I don't do it personally daily. I have other responsibilities. I have to vote on not just this issue, but all the issues facing my district. So I have 620,000 people that contact my office with their problems every day. And it's my job to make county government work for them. And so this is just one aspect of the many things I do here as a Board of Supervisor.
What are the biggest challenges the county government has in meeting the needs of the new Afghans arriving?
Well, I think that for many folks, they don't speak our language, and they have to have an interpreter, and finding enough people that can interpret for them and answer the questions. And, you know, our school system's different perhaps than their school system.
Mm-hmm.
The way we operate as a country is different. Just as if I moved to Mexico or France or someplace else, I would have to understand how they work as a society. For these folks, they may not have ever been exposed to it. And so finding other Afghans that are here already who are willing to mentor and help them is a huge challenge. Not because people don't want to help, we just have to find them to ask them, and that sometimes is a challenge. But and then housing, of course. Housing is always difficult. Here in San Diego County, leadership has failed to build enough houses for all the citizens. So now you have all these refugees coming. They're going to need housing. And so it takes a lot of work to find appropriate housing to accommodate everyone. So these are major challenges, but these are things that we can overcome. We just have to work hard at it.
Will there be funding to help pay for the resettlement of Afghans in San Diego County?
There is, both on the state and federal side. I don't have the dollar amount in front of me right now, but there's plenty of money. But in addition to the money that is already in place, the federal government confiscated $9.5 billion from the Taliban government, and it's holding it. And I would rather they spent that money on refugees and helping refugees than returning it to the Taliban government that forced these refugees to flee their home country. You know, we are a very loving people, and when someone's being persecuted in their own country, we welcome them here. And I think that we need to take that money, and that's why I asked President Biden to spend that money on our refugees, because these people, their first choice was to stay in their country, but they can't because it's too dangerous. So I think it'd be really smart to use the money we've confiscated from the Taliban, and use it on the Afghan people who are fleeing for their lives and for a better future.
That's a very good idea. How are local communities supporting the new arrivals from Afghanistan?
Well, we have a lot of nonprofits that have assisted refugees in the past.
Right.
And they're involved, and they're looking to, you know, we have healthcare issues. You know, some of these folks, as you know, I'm not telling you anything you don't know. It's been widely reported that some of these families had to go into hiding, and then they had to come to the United States through other countries. And some of them have had to walk hundreds of miles. Mm-hmm. They've had to go through all sorts of trials and tribulation getting here. And so getting them the health care to make sure they're healthy, getting them food, getting them a source of revenue and housing, and getting their children into schools is really important. So we have different organizations, but the number one thing is we need more help. If there's other individuals or organizations that want to help, they can dial 211 and say, I want to help the refugees. Please tell me who I need to talk to in the county. And they will link them up to the Office of Immigration and Refugees Affairs. And then they will be brought in, and we will use some of the money with those nonprofits to meet the needs of the 1,000+ Afghan people that have moved here.
Very good. So how can the incoming families from Afghanistan learn about the government resources that are available to them?
Well, the easiest of all is call my office. I'm happy to help. But if they don't remember my name, they can call 211 and ask for help. And then they will connect them. Those operators will connect them with the correct people at the county. And we have services available because I put a board letter in a month ago to prepare for this moment. So this is one of the few times that we are ready and able to help those refugees. And my gosh, we want to be as welcoming as possible.
We really appreciate that. And we will display your number and the websites that you have provided us on the screen now. And then if our viewers would need the easy way to get the links so they can click on, they can always email me or message me on Facebook. So we want to make sure that you were kind enough to forward me all the very useful links and your office number.
Well, I really appreciate you doing it because getting the message into the correct community, we can go on TV and we can post something, but I'm not sure that the refugees are watching TV in a language they may or may not be able to read or speak. So coming to you, being a safe harbor for all those folks who need help, you're doing an outstanding job. In fact, I had planned on coming up to your studio and it just didn't work out. And I'm embarrassed to say that I actually have a resolution for you recognizing your hard work in the community. I'm going to mail this to you.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate that. That means a lot to me.
Everybody who's helping these refugees, everybody who's welcoming our friends abroad who need our help, that's a good thing. And I want to make sure that we give credit to all those people and all those nonprofits who are welcoming our refugees. And so thank you so much for allowing me to be on the show.
That's the least I can do.
Work. One of the things that you do that I think is so important, and I was so honored to be on the show, is you're an education for women. And that your focus on making sure that refugees understand that we want all women to have a terrific world-class education, and we value them as much as we value men. And this is a country of great opportunity, and we want them to take every opportunity possible to improve their lives.
Thank you so much for the kind words and for all that you do for the new Afghans that are coming to San Diego. And I am the least amount of work for them. I'm just a bridge between you and our wonderful volunteers who are working tirelessly day and night. And on my phone, I constantly get these messages from the WhatsApp groups that how much they're working to provide for them and to welcome the new ones, so to make them feel comfortable.
Bridges like you, we would never get anywhere. The work you do is huge because you're connecting people that need help with people who want to offer help. And if it wasn't for you, they'd never find each other. So that's why I'm so grateful to you and the station and all the hard work.
Thank you. Appreciate that. So if our viewers want to help, how can they get involved?
Well, call my office. But again, if they don't think of it, call 211. And those operators, if they say, hey, look, I want to help with the Afghan refugees, they will connect them. Plus, I think that my office provided you a list of some nonprofits that are working right now. And if we haven't, we'll get it to you, and perhaps you can post it for those folks. Sure. But the easiest way is just Google Joel Anderson and call my office, and we will connect those folks. If 1,000 people called tomorrow, we would have work for everyone. Wow. Because we have over 1,000 people coming, and they all need help, and they all have questions. And when Americans provide those answers, it makes it easy for them to assimilate and get their kids in school and get all the services necessary to provide for their families. And that's the goal, right? We want to be welcoming as possible.
Do you know of the number, like how many have arrived so far?
Well, we're anticipating over 1,000. I'm not sure where we are.
Okay.
But I know that 2,500 over the last 5 years have immigrated here as refugees.
In San Diego?
Assimilated that many into our community in East County. And so that's why we're counting on those folks to step up and help the new neighbors. because they speak the same language, they understand the same culture, and they also understand the American culture and how to bridge it. And so that you know, it's hard. I mean, if you're moving to, under the best of circumstances, moving to a new culture, a new country, and a new language is not easy for anyone. But doing it as a refugee is just that much harder.
Exactly.
And that's why we have to work really hard to provide them the services and meet their needs so that they understand that we welcome them and we love them and we're happy they're safe here in the United States.
Thank you. That's very nice of you. So, have you met any of them?
Well, I know some of the families who got caught. Some of the 23 families that their children were caught in Afghanistan. I've met some of those folks. They're wonderful people, and they are so grateful that their children made it out safely.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to thank Congressman Darrell Issa, who worked on it, and I want to thank President Biden in his State Department, who worked on it as well. But there are still people over there that are future refugees who are trying to work their way safely out of the country because, sadly, the Taliban have lists of folks that helped the United States, and their lives are in jeopardy, and they deserve passage here to the United States, where we should welcome and thank them for their service, not only to us, but to the democracy that they were trying and continue to try to create in Afghanistan.
Very good. So, if I may ask,
Sure.
how many districts are there in San Diego?
We have 5 board of supervisors in 5 districts. So my district's number 2, and then I have 4 colleagues who represent different areas of San Diego County.
So, what you're doing, is it just for the District 2?
Well, my colleagues, I presented it. I have more refugees in my district than anywhere else in the Western United States. So I've been dealing with refugees for the last 15 years. And so I understand their plight. And it doesn't matter what country they come from. It's the same type of stories, right? They're being punished in their country. Their lives are at risk. Their families are at risk. And so they're fleeing their countries for their safety. And they come to the United States. And because we were quick to welcome them in my district, if you're Afghan, you want to go where other Afghan people are because you want to share the same culture. We also have the second largest population of Chaldeans, which are Iraqis, in my district as well. And we have over 35,000 refugees. So we've been doing this a long time. And I think it's really important. I think it's important to welcome these folks. This is what made the United States great, right? I mean, we were a nation where everyone sent people who felt that they deserved more freedom and they didn't want to be persecuted in their home country. They moved here. And so we have a very diverse community, and that's a good thing. And we have wonderful Americans as a result of it. So in other areas of San Diego County, they don't have the same population of refugees that I have, and they want to help, but they haven't had to do it before, and I've been doing it for a long time. So this isn't the first time I've written a letter to the president. It's not the first time that I've worked to help people that were persecuted seek asylum, and I'm happy to do it because I believe in human rights, and I support people who want a better life for their children and want to live in freedom. And so I'm delighted to have the refugees coming to my district.
Thank you. We appreciate that. So,
by the way,
yes,
Mike loves them. My district wants them. There's nobody in my district saying we want them to move someplace else. Everybody in my district
that's so good to hear.
We're proud of the fact that we provide opportunity for those seeking freedom.
That's awesome. That's so good to know. That's so reassuring, and that's very kind and very welcoming. So I will be going in a few days to one of the bases to volunteer during my winter break, and I will. Those who are coming toward you, I'll tell them how blessed and lucky they are that they're going to end up in your district.
Well, if you make it to my district, you better call me in advance so I can come meet you in person, and I'd love to show you around because we're doing an awful lot of good things. There's plenty more good things that need to be accomplished, but we're on the right track. And, I feel really fortunate to represent so many wonderful people that are loving and they care about their neighbors. And so, I hope you get a chance to come to my district.
I'd love to. I'd love
Close.
to.
But if you come to San Diego County,
I definitely will.
Disappointed if you didn't say hello.
No, I will definitely will. I would love to come and meet those new Afghans and meet you.
So that'd be wonderful.
Yeah, so other, like in other states, other counties, other districts, how can they do the same thing as you do? Should their citizens, should the Afghans write a proposal to their supervisor? What can we do to get this going in other places too?
Well, before I was elected, I didn't know all the things I know. And for many of those counties, they don't have any refugees. And so they've never dealt with it. So they're not even thinking about it. But if folks that are involved in the refugee community reach out to them and ask them for help, I'm sure many of them would step up and help as well. But, you can't be upset with people who don't know any better, right? If my colleagues don't have refugees, so when I brought that board letter forward, I was pleased that they were so supportive, but I brought the board letter forward because I have refugees and I know what's needed to meet the crisis of meeting their needs. They weren't thinking about it because they weren't exposed to it. Now I know moving forward, after having read my letter and understanding the plight and the crisis, I know that they will be even more open to helping in the future. But initially, they had never dealt with refugees, where my entire political life I've dealt with refugees, and I've done letters and I've advocated because, we're a beacon of freedom, and we have to be there for those who are being persecuted around the world. I've done a lot of work with people being persecuted in China. I've done work with people being persecuted in the Middle East, and I've done work with people being persecuted in Central Asia. So, but I'm unique because I'm surrounded by the wonderful things that refugees bring to a community. If I represented another district, I'm not sure I would be this involved because I wouldn't know what I was missing out on.
Mm-hmm. Very good. So being an educator, I do have one concern, and I don't know, will you be able to help school districts understand this problem that the newcomers might have? I was helping a family because the school will not enroll their two kids. One of the kids was enrolled like 2 grade levels above where she was in Afghanistan, and the other one, they did not even enroll him because he was going to turn 18, and yet because and their passport, the way we go by a solar calendar, the year was converted wrong. And I explained that to the school district, and the poor girl who's supposed to be in 9th grade, they put her in 11th grade. And the other one was supposed to be a senior in high school. They said, no, you have to go to college. And with this, they're young, and it's really, first of all, a new language, new environment, new culture, everything new, on top of it not knowing the language. And the school district was not very much accommodating.
So
will you do anything about an issue like this in your district?
So what part of California, was that in California?
That was in Irvine, yes.
Irvine. Well,
I'm saying in your district, will you, do you have the control? Do you have control over that? Because I'm sure many Afghans, because of changing, many of them now are probably not documented even. Those were lucky enough to have a passport at least.
So it's not just me in my district.
Right.
It's everybody in my district who's trying to help them. And I think what best demonstrates it is the 23 children who were caught in Afghanistan after we pulled out. It was their school superintendent who brought it to everyone's attention, who reached out to me and reached out to others to ensure their safety in being returned. It was the school district that fought to bring them home and brought the attention. So we have a different attitude. We understand our cultural differences. We understand a lot of this. I would suspect we've never had a problem like that that's been brought to my attention in the last 15 years of working with refugees, because we work with refugees all the time. We understand that you can have these glitches and misunderstandings, and we try to work beyond it. So no one's ever brought it to my attention in my district because I believe it has never been a problem. And I wish that that family lived in my district, because we would take care of it right away. Because everyone's trying to help these people. We want them to be successful, but most importantly, we want them to feel welcomed by welcoming them and showing our love for them by actually doing it, not just talking about it, but doing it. And I think that when you have a school superintendent who rings an alarm, gets Congressman Issa involved, gets me involved, and reaches out to the president and the Secretary of State to reach out to bring these families home, that tells you the level of intensity that we bring in our commitment to these refugees and the Afghan people.
Very good. Actually, I have to correct myself. I was wrong. It wasn't Irvine. It was Tustin Unified.
Sorry, which Unified?
Tustin.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Thank you so much. That's so awesome. I want to move to your district now. Sounds so good.
Welcome. I'll have you. You know what? I will find a studio for you and or sponsors and get you working at this, not just with the Afghan people, but with everybody. Because I think what you do is so important.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I feel honored that you're so kind and complimentary. Is there anything else that we need? Oh, before again, because from my educational background, again, my concern about them. The school systems, because you have a larger population of them now.
Right.
Are they hiring anyone who is Dari or Pashto speakers to help these newcomers?
So
or their
in my
volunteers?
district, Farsi is one of the languages in Arabic, or is one of the languages that they use. Now, it's hard because if we went to every language, it would be over 138 languages.
Of course.
And we can't. But because there's such a large population in my district, that when the county communicates, they, of course, do it in English, they do it in Spanish, they do it in Tagalog because we have Filipinos, and then they do it in Farsi and Arabic. So we're doing our best to communicate. But, the best thing that we can do is connect them with other Afghan refugees who have assimilated, who can act as interpreters. Because even if you spoke English, you may understand the way we use English. Sometimes we say things like hop to it. Well, we don't mean hop. We mean work fast. But if you're new to the country and someone tells you hop to it, you're thinking you're supposed to hop to the corner, and they just want you to move quickly to the corner. And they don't know all the colloquialisms. Right. So having a family, having people who are here, who have gone through it, who understand the difficulties that you have to overcome. And these are simple things that people don't think about unless they're tied to the community, right? So that's why if we can get more people to help, that would be wonderful, especially if they're familiar with the culture and the language and can act as mentors to those new families.
Right, and we have great volunteers. I'm sure they will be in good hands. So, like in Orange County, we have so many volunteers that are helping out. And let me see. I'm sorry if we have. I'm sorry. I'm just reading a comment in case there's a question. Okay, I do have a comment from a viewer. It says it's not fair to use the Afghan money from back home on these refugees. These refugees get a good help from the government here, but the Afghans are dying from hunger in Afghanistan. So, what do you have a comment about that?
Well, the money would go to the Taliban. Whether the Taliban chose to use it on the population, right now they have resources they're choosing not to use. So giving money to the Taliban does not guarantee that anybody sees any food. So, you know what? They're right. If the Taliban were to do the right thing, then the children wouldn't starve. But if the Taliban were to do the right thing, we wouldn't have refugees, right?
Right, exactly.
But because the Taliban are going to execute people, they're going to torture people, they're going to punish people who they disagree with. You know, the Taliban doesn't have a great history of treating women with respect. They've denied women education in the past. They have treated women like chattel instead of like people. And look, they say that they're the new Taliban and that they're much improved. We have to wait to see if that's true. And I'm not sure that money would be used outside of buying weapons and taking care of the folks that are in charge, but not the people. The fact that we have so many refugees is the reason why I believe that money would be best served to help those refugees.
Right, yeah, but at the same time, and I do feel for the Afghans inside Afghanistan also.
I don't want anybody to stop. I don't want to see any, you know, I believe in human rights. However, there are folks around the world that have the ability to feed the people. Instead, they choose to make themselves rich with the money that could be used to feed the people.
Absolutely. I agree with that. And hopefully
send them food than money, because then the food can't be used as a weapon.
Exactly. And back to my question on education, actually, anytime you need help, I'm also available through Zoom meetings for translation, because I speak both Farsi and Pashto. I'll be more than happy to help. And we have, like I said, we have plenty of volunteers. And if you need to be connected with any groups, please feel free to reach out. I'll be more than happy to connect you with them so they can be of help.
That's fantastic, and I will take you up on that offer. That's very generous of you. Thank you.
Yes. Anything else that I have not asked you that you feel like it's worthy of discussion or bringing it up? It's your chance. We still have a few more minutes. Feel free to talk about it.
Well, I think that you've asked some great questions, and I think the big thing is if people want to help, they can call 211, or they can call my office, or they can reach out to the Office of Immigration and Refugee Affairs here in San Diego County. But we'd love to have their help, and I really appreciate you putting the numbers and everything up on the website and on the TV. But you've asked some really tough questions. We've gone through an awful lot, and I think now it's just about rolling up our sleeves and making sure the work gets done.
All right. Thank you so much. It was a pleasure having you. I really appreciate your time, and I appreciate everything that you do on behalf of these new Afghans. Thank you.
So much.
God bless you.
pleasure and an honor to be on your show.
Thank you. And thank you so much for, I also wanted to thank Michael for being a big support and a good, to keep the communication going and connecting us. Thank you.
Well, I'll pass that on to Michael. He's sitting next to me, and he does a great job for me. He works awfully hard, and I'm lucky to have him.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for being here again, and have a great rest of the day.
You too.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks.
و با تشکر مجدد از آقای عمر قدرت باز هم که زمینه این مصاحبه را بر ما مساعد ساختن و دوستای عزیز و ارجمند، یعنی بسیار جای خوشی است وقتی که میبینیم که کمک های وجود داره برای افغانای ما و ما بسیار خوشحال هستم میال برای افغان های تازه وارد ما که میاین به دستریکت 2 سن دیگو اینا مسکن گزین میشن. بسیار برشان خوشحال هستم از اینکه برشان صورت های در نظر گرفته شده و آمادگی برشان گرفته شده و همه انتظار آمدنشان هستند که واقعا جای خوشی است، جای برای ما یک آرامش میبخشه، یک احساس آرامش برای بخشید امیاله و امیدوار هستم که در همه جای دیگه که هم افغانای ما میرن و مسکن گزین میشن چنین سهولت هایی برشان فراهم شود و واقعا وقتی که من میبینم هموطنای عزیز ما که چقدر زحمت میکشن، چقدر شب و روز یعنی به فکر از این هستن که چطور برای این افغانای تازه وارد ما اینا کمک کنن. من در گروپ افغان ریفیوجی ریلیف هستم که در واتساپ گروپشان، البته من برای اونا کدام چیز نمیکنم، فقط میبینم تمام مسیج ها و کدام وقت اگر کدام کنکشن باشه کنم و کاش که میتونستم که با اندازه که اینا زحمت میکشن ما هم میتونستم، ولی متاسفانه که تا به حال نتونستیم به اون اندازه انوالف باشم و واقعا که زحماتشان که میبینم از هر نگاه، از نگاه فرش و ظرف و خانه و خوراک و پوشاک و دکتر بردن و یعنی چیزایی را اینا فکر میکنن، با دفتر سوشل سکیوریتی میرن و اپلای میکنن برشان، بر سوشل سکیوریتی، بر مدیکال. بر کالیفرنیا مشکلش خانه است که کرایه خانه، کرایه آپارتمان به حد اندازه قیمت است و متاسفانه که همه علاقه دارن که کالیفرنیا بیاین و امیدوار هستم که هموطنای عزیز ما که یعنی اگر یک پشتوانه ندارن به کالیفرنیا، یک فامیل نزدیک ندارن به کالیفرنیا، کوشش کنن که یک جای را، یک استیت را انتخاب کنن که cost of living و قیمت زندگی اونجا یک ذره ارزان تر باشه، کرایه خانه و آپارتمان ارزان باشه، همه چیز ارزان تر باشه که اینا زودتر بتونن که زندگی خود به یک جای برسانن و پیشرفت کنن زودتر و بتونن که بعد از او اگر خواسته باشن کالیفرنیا بیاین. و یک چیز مهمه که است تحصیل است. باید از این شرایط طلایی هموطنای ما استفاده خوب کنن و وقتی که میاین به هر جایی که مسکن گزین میشن اولین چیز رو فکر کنن که به کجا بریم که برای ادامه تحصیل فرزندان ما بهتر است. واضح یک جایی که فرزندانت مجبور به کار نباشه. وقتی که با کار کردن پدر و مادر کرایه خانه پوره نمیشه، مجبور میشه که فرزندانی که از 18 به بالاتر هستن و اجازه کار میتونن داشته باشن و بیچاره هم میتونن که کار شروع کنن برای که فامیل سپورت کنن و کرایه خانه را پوره کنن و از تمام مصارف دیگر اینا پوره شوند. اینا اگر با یک استیت دیگه، با یک ایالت باشین که ارزانی باشه، قیمت خانه ارزان باشه، فرزندانتان میتونن که برن درس خود بخونن، کالج برن و بعد از او که یک چیز مدرک علمی به دست بیارن یک کار بهتره و یک عاید درآمد بهتره را میتونن داشته باشن. و این چیزیست که ما امیدوار هستم که هموطنای عزیز ما که وقتر آمدن و فامیلایتان هنوز در کمپا هستن اونا را وقتی که میآین خودتان فکر کنین که شما اونا را تا چه وقت میتونین سپورت کنین، تا چه وقت اونا را میتونین همکاری کنین، در بند خانه تان نگاه کنین و کرای خانه شان کمک کنین. برای همیشه نمیتونین، بسیار که کنین 2-3 ماه شاید بتونین کرده. بعد از او باید به پای خود استاده شن و کمک هم کسایی که اگر SIV نباشن برشان برای بسیار مدت موقتی است، برای همیشه نیست. باید آینده از اونا را فکر کنیم، تنها فکر نکنیم که اونا نزدیک ما باشن به خاطر که دوستشان داریم، اما اگر واقعا دوستشان داریم باید آیندهشان فکر کنیم، آینده فرزندانشان فکر کنیم و کوشش کنیم اونا را تشویق کنیم که به جاهای برن که استیتای خردتر، که کرای خانه و مصرف زندگی کمتر باشه، به خاطر که اولین چیزی که مهم است تحصیل. هم خودشان میتونن که برن درس بخوانن، هم فرزندانشان میتونن و بعد از او که با پای خود استاده شدن هر طرف میتونن که زندگی کنن هر جایی که خواسته باشن. دیگه امیدوار هستم که اینمی نظریه مرا برش پیشتان یعنی قابل قبول باشه و با دوستانتان هم تشویقشان کنین که از من هر کسی که دوستا هموطنای ما که تا مرا نمیشناسن اما از طریق فیسبوک میشناسن، از مسنجر به ما اول میتن امرای ما به تماس میشن و میگن که اگر کالیفرنیا بیاین، بسیاریا میخواین ساکرامنتو برن، بسیاریا میخواین سن دیگو بیاین و جایی است که درست است که شاید از نگاه کار خوب باشه، از نگاه بزنس، اما برای فرزندانتان شهرهای کوچک و خردتر بسیار بهتر است. و میفهم که ما متنای ما چون آلت آوارگی سخت است برشان، میخواین جایی برن که زیادتر تعداد افغان هم زیاد باشه، اما در هر استیتی که بخواین یعنی یک تعداد محدود افغان ها اقلا است در استیتای خرد هم و انشالله به کمکتان میرسن، به دادتان میرسن و خداوند همراهتان است و هیچ وقت تنها نمی باشین. و همیشه امیدوار هستم که با دربار خداوند دعا میکنیم که یک آرامش صلح ابدی در وطن ما بیاید که این هموطنای بیچاره ما که در این حالت قرار دارن اینا هم اگر خواسته باشن دوباره به خانه و کاشانه و مسکن خود برن بتانن رفته و اقلا اگر اینا حال شکر آمدن شاید یک آینده بهتر برای فرزندانشان برای خودشان اینجا باشه. اما تنهای بیچاره ما که در افغانستان هستن و زندگیشان در خطر است، امیدوار هستم که یک لغمنان با آرامی پیدا کرده بتانن، یک راه باشه که یک دوست و فامیل و عزیزشان برشان آسان پول فرستاده بتانن و امیدوار هستم که این روزهای تاریک برای هموطنان بیچاره ما در داخل افغانستان به روشنی مبدل شود و هموطنان عزیز ما که اینجا آمدن مهاجر شدن خداوند برشان آینده درخشان و صحت و سلامت و زندگی پر از صفا و صمیمیت با افغانای دیگه برشان آرزو میکنم. و با تشکر مجدد از مهمان ما سوپروایزر جول اندرسن و از محترم آقای عمر قدرت و همکار عزیزم و شما بینندگان عزیز و ارجمند، و برنامه امروز به همینجا به پایان میرسانیم تا هفته آینده. خداوند یار و مددگارتان. خداحافظ.
توانا بود ارکی دانا بود، ز دانش دل پیر برنا بود.